Hey, welcome to the latest episode of Articulate Thoughts, which is a personal blog of mine where I share some thoughts, ideas, experiences, and observations about conscious dance, which is a movement practice that uses dance as a form of moving meditation. And today's topic or theme is entitled Eye of the Tiger. And before I go any further with that, I just want to emphasize and to reinforce the idea that conscious dance, or just dance in general, the dance floor is a metaphor for your life. And it is completely creative and imaginatory space. And you can imagine it to be whatever you want. It could be just a dance floor. It could be, I don't know, like somewhere in nature, like a field of flowers, or maybe somewhere behind like a river with like some nice muddy spots. It could be battleground, training ground. That's what I choose to view it as because that's what I feel will serve me the best. But yeah, like it is completely up to you and what resonates with your personality or what a dance floor represents for you. And personally, for me, I've always been in the mindset of martial arts, and I always use the metaphor of martial arts as what the dance floor represents to me and how I correlate with it. And there's always going to be constant metaphors and constant references to martial arts or anything within that realm, because that's just part of my personality. When I was growing up, I watched a lot of Ninja Turtles, and I think that kind of set the bar for a certain segue in my journey. So that being said, back to Eye of the Tiger. And now, Eye of the Tiger is actually a song that was really popularized by the movie Rocky 3. And that movie came out in like the 80s, and like, I think I was only like 1 or 2 years old when it came out. But my brother had the movies recorded on tape, and I watched it when I was growing up. And it's a very interesting story. So Rocky is a movie series featuring Sylvester Stallone, and who's a boxer out of Philadelphia. And in the first two movies, he's kind of like a lower tier boxer. He's just kind of a bum on the streets, but he like sticks to it. He works really hard. And he works his way up, and he becomes a world champion by the end of the second movie. And then the third movie, in the beginning, this is kind of a spoiler alert. So if you actually want to watch it, I'm gonna spoil it for you a little bit here. But in the third movie, in the beginning, he just won the world championship title, and he's going on this tear, and he's like on a 10 fight win streak, and he's like a superstar. He's got a box of Wheaties, like he's on the box of Wheaties, and he's getting all these interviews and all these endorsements from all these big companies. And there's like a statue of him in like built in Philadelphia, and he's just on this tear. And in the meantime, they have this character who's like kind of in the crowds, and he's another boxer as well, doing his own thing, but he's got his eyes on Rocky, and he's like studying him. And he's like just obsessed, and like he's like training in his own like underground basement by himself, and he's got all these newspaper clippings of Rocky. And um, in the middle point of the movie, he actually challenges Rocky and ends up winning the fight. And it's a metaphor of um, being unfocused, because what happens in a movie is like Rocky is so caught up in the popularity and the fame and the success, and he forgets the the singleness of purpose that he had in the beginning when he was like hungry and he wanted something. But then when he got that something, he lost that intensity and focus. Now, this is a very powerful metaphor, and it actually happens in real life. If you want to look further into it, look into the Jose Aldo and Conor McGregor fight, and that happened in December of 2015. So you could find some interviews and like watch the match itself and just kind of study it a little bit. And you'll see this metaphor playing out in real life. It's a real thing that happened. Rocky is just a fictional story, but it does portray that metaphor very carefully. And I find myself in that position right now where I've hit all these goals that I wanted, and I was aware of this concept of setting up the next goal. So the focus, there's always a point of focus to shoot for. I was really focused on these three goals, and when I hit two of them, I made a self note of and made a point of saying, okay, you're at 2 out of 3. So when you hit your three, what's the next three you want to shoot for? And I got a little sloppy then because I got caught up in the moment, being I'm successful. I got really confident in my ability to manifest the things that I desire. And when I manifested the third thing, I've only had like one other thing really set up, and it wasn't really set up with that much clarity. I didn't have the singleness of purpose. I didn't have that that factor of thinking about it all the time and reading it about all the time and thinking about all the time and dreaming about it all the time and drinking it all the time and sleeping about it and then dreaming about it, and then I was just not as focused, and the burning desire wasn't there, and now I find myself in a position where I'm kind of like in a lull, right? Like you know I'm enjoying life and think and good things are happening. I'm going through some growing pains right now, but it is a very interesting journey that's teaching me a lot and strengthening me. And I do understand there's certain points in a journey where it's pedal to the metal. There's a lot of focus, there's a lot of action, a lot of work being done, and there's a lot of momentum moving forward. But then there's other times in life where it's a lot more chill, it's a lot more stagnant, and just like enjoying life and sitting back, smelling the roses and enjoying the manifestations that have, or like the fruits of the labor. It's a better metaphor. But like I kind of have a sense that I'm at a place where uh, that's coming to an end, and I really got to get back to that hungry state and like that burning desire and focus and singleness of purpose. That I'm heading back into that direction, and it is towards the direction of conscious dance. This is really something I feel is very important, and it's in the early stages of being popularized. Dance has been around since the beginning of human creativity. I think if you look at all civilizations and all inceptions of cultures, as soon as a civilization has the intelligence of creation, it's usually going towards creative cooking, like in cuisine, or some kind of musicality, like building instruments, and naturally building instruments and creating music. Dance is always the next thing that comes after that. So it's a very integral part of human creativity and human interaction and human expression. And I think that kind of form of expression has been lost in today's modern society because of whatever, just like how dance is marketed and popularized, and how dance is introduced as a form of entertainment, as a part of expression. um, I mean, like the entertainers are expressing themselves to a crowd, but there's a dynamic of, okay, there's the performers on stage, and then there's like a separation of the audience. There's like a veil between the audience and the dancers. So then the audience, they're not dancing; they're just observing the dance. So it becomes a very limited and not as interactive experience with human beings. It's a very passive and line and then active. But I actually witnessed something recently um, in one of the music festivals where a group, the Inner Journeys Dance Troupe, created this dynamic with the DJ and then the performers and then the audience, and they played around with that concept in a way that broke down the barriers. And I thought it was brilliant and very creative, and created a very dynamic dance environment that I've never experienced before, and I don't think I will experience that, for a while. But it at least gave me some vision, or at least some hope of what could be done creatively in the context of that DJ, electronic dance music festival kind of environment. So yeah, I don't know. I've done a lot of rambling on this video, but I don't really care that much. I care, but not that much. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it. And this week I'll be dancing on Wednesday at W&M Dance Studios with Kyra Newton. She'll be facilitating, and then on Friday I'll be dancing at Yoga Passage with Marie Claire O'Donegan. And if you want more information, you can reach out to me, Facebook, email, telephone, whatever. And inshallah, I will see you on the dance floor.